Hey guys, it's me, Lindsay. I just wanted to connect with you guys for a little bit about some things that are coming up in kids across the board. So, just to remind you of some things, cue you into some calendar things, and just also to help get you guys starting to think about what it is that you guys want to do. And given that my arm is still in a splint, I thought a video would work much better than typing. And just as actually as an FYI, I have been sending out weekly email videos chats to my team because of my arm. And I've been getting some really, really great feedback. So you may just want to think about that. Yeah, my team's loving it. So I don't know if you guys are like feeling like, hey, man, like how do I get my team to, buy it, like listen to my communication and stuff like that. You may want to consider videos. It's been really successful in Nevada, and it's actually doesn't take me that much. It's like 20-minute max, I think, with all the work. So just a great, easy, successful way of communicating with your teams if you're feeling stuck. So there's that little tidbit of information. Not originally planned to tell you guys, but I thought I would share it anyway. So, the first thing first is the family survey. And I had emailed you guys way back at the beginning of the year about this, and some of you had responded with your feedback in terms of the design of the survey and questions. So, just so you know, the survey is actually live. And so, I will be sending you guys a link that you can send out to your families. And I would highly encourage you guys to send it out. It's been really great getting some great feedback. I've sent it out for Arvada families, and I've been getting some really great feedback. I've even gotten a few people that are like, "Oh yeah, I can volunteer 1 or 2 hours a week or a month or whatever to help out." Like that's not a big deal. But yeah, so just it's really great, and it's just really helping to inform some of the things I'm thinking about moving forward, especially in terms of like, hey, how many events should we be offering? Like, are we offering a lot? Not a lot. Should we be doing more? So it's been really great to get that feedback from our families because ultimately everything we're doing should be for our families, and I wanted to help and not hinder. And so we kind of needed some feedback from our families to know like what exactly is going to help you guys. So yeah, and we'll keep it open through May 1st, and then I'll close it, and then will send you guys all of your location reports so that you know, hey, here's our families, along with anybody to follow up with, and then yeah, and then like if anything's going to come from Central in terms of stuff that I'm seeing, I'll let you know as well. The plan for that. So yeah, so the link to the survey will be a part of this email. You can just copy and send it out to your families. You guys can even participate yourselves, and then yeah, I'll let you guys know as that continues on. The second thing I want to talk to you guys about real quick is our child dedications. Those are coming up. For those of you guys who are not familiar with child dedications, we do these because we believe baptism is an expression of faith, of like expressing a faith in like of salvation. So to follow Jesus, of a person's desire to follow Jesus, and so obviously babies can't do that, and so we do dedications as a way to just help our parents to see the importance that they play in terms of being the spiritual leaders in their kids' lives, and for them to pause and reflect, like kind of like what am I like? What does that mean to me? What's that going to look like for us as a family? I love it from a coordinator perspective, and the fact that it gives me an opportunity to connect with families that I may not normally connect with if they're not if they don't have kids already back in kids' church. Um, and so I just love it. And plus, it's always so sweet. I know as a mom going through it with Abby, we do a blessing, and it was just very powerful for me. So I always love child dedications. They're always, it's just a great way for us as a church community to celebrate our families. So on the coordinator website, there is a link. And like, actually, I think there's like actually a whole page that has all the documents you guys need to know in terms of like the timeline for dedication, things you need to be thinking about. So, you guys think I got to start recruiting a photographer, who's going to lead the child dedication class 3 weeks beforehand, who's going to coordinate the details the day of, who's going to be the one on stage running the child dedication. So all those little pieces that you need to think about and connect with your local pastor over. Um, the child dedication class we run 3 weeks beforehand because that will give families 2 weeks we give them like some reflective exercises and some talks to listen to, so that gives them 2 weeks to go through everything. You guys, it's only like an hour's worth of time, so just make sure you let parents know like, hey, it's only going to take about an hour of your time to complete everything. But you'd be surprised at the number of people who wait to the last minute. But we want to give them 2 weeks to do that and complete that. So that's why we do it 3 weeks, and then we need time on our back end to create the slideshows and to create the homework and all of that. So yeah, so there's those timelines. If you guys have any questions about child dedications and who's doing what, or if you, yeah, so just you guys reach out to me and let me know individually what your location wants and needs. The gifts. We always do the Jesus Storybook Bible for families if it's their first time, and then if this is like their second or third time dedicating, we send something else down that's age appropriate for the kids that they have. And then last time we included a worship CD for the family, a kids worship CD. And then this last time I also included a book for the families called Spiritual Parenting. That again, that just reinforces the idea that they are the spiritual leaders in their kids' lives. So just again, it's a great way to just equip our families, and also for us as a church to get to know our families better and to come alongside and celebrate and commit to supporting them as well. The next thing that comes up, and it's always happening during child dedications, is that it's recruiting season. Now, granted, it's recruiting season, but hopefully we are always recruiting, that we don't just sit back, like, oh man, I've got 5 holes, and be like, well, I can't do anything about them until recruiting season starts. Like, no, that's not true. Like, hopefully, you guys are looking around at the church and be like, oh, there's 3 people that aren't serving. I think they may be a good fit for kids. Like, go after them now. Don't be like, oh, well, it's coming up in 2 months. Like, no, do it now. Just go after them now. Don't wait. Because even if you go after them now and they say no, the great thing is you've already started planting that seed in their mind about serving with kids, and to where when it comes time for the recruit, maybe they'll change their mind and say, oh yeah, I can do that. Or maybe they'll say yes now, and you can get them onboarded and started sooner. Um, so I just want you guys to be thinking about that. So recruiting, I've already turned in the request to Jerry for the recruit cards, but you guys will need to connect with him in terms of like what you actually want on your cards. So he'll design them, but like, I have these are our classrooms. That way you guys get your recruit cards and posters and stuff that you need. Like I said, I already sent like the generic request into Jerry, but you guys will want to do that as well for your specific locations in terms of like the cards, like with the information, like, we have nursery 2s, whatever, like Arvada has more. So just make sure you guys get what you need for your locations, and we're not giving you cards that reflect somebody else's information, because that's not helpful if somebody signs up for a class you guys don't have. So also be talking with your local pastors about what you want communicated from the stage, what that's going to look like. Be thinking about who you want communicating, who's going to be getting up sharing their stories and stuff like that. What stories do you have to share? So all of those things, start thinking about them if you haven't already, for the recruiting process. The other thing I want to remind you guys about is the onboarding process. So that there's a document also under the coordinator website where you can we can look through like, okay, they filled out their application, they filled out their background check, now they're going to observe in a classroom, and then we do orientation. So make sure you guys like take a look at that document. It's just a great guideline. The reality is, depending on where and how the person's going to be serving in KidVenture, their onboarding process may look different, because it takes different needs to get them onboarded. So if you're looking at somebody that's like, oh, like I need them to be a teacher in this space, but like they haven't served in kids before, they're not a teacher or something like that, you may actually want to consider like, instead of asking them to observe once, like have them actually observe like 3 or 4 times, as well as thinking like, how am I going to be in their classroom like the first couple of times they're there? Because the reality is we want we want all of our volunteers to feel like that they are equipped and successful in the classroom. And so, but everybody has different needs in terms of where they're at. So just make sure you guys are thinking about that as you are recruiting people. And the document right now is pretty like, it's just like the standard I think I might have some time next week. I can actually probably go in and maybe like detail a little bit better about like if you're doing a teacher versus a helper, because that might look different. And then also be thinking about when you want to run your orientation. You guys, recommendation in terms of training, you always want to make it right after a service. Like that has always been in Arvada like our greatest response in terms of getting people to attend things, mostly because they're already there, and so they can just stay a little bit longer and always have food too. Food, chocolate, whatever's needed. But you want to make it so that it's easy for your people to attend an orientation. So that's just a little food for thought. If you're like, well, I tried it midweek and no one shows up, it's hard too probably. But chances are you can get them to stay a little bit longer after a church service because they're already there. The next thing I wanted to talk to you guys about real quick, curriculum videos. So I love our curriculum, you guys, but I know that depending on the level of ease or the level of comfort on a volunteer, it can sometimes feel overwhelming, or just even people look at things and they're like, I don't understand this. Why do we do this? I'm not sure like the importance of this. I don't think our kids can do this. I actually go through each of our curriculum and I kind of go by section. I talk about like why we do it. So Like, I don't know if you guys were aware, but in our preschool curriculum, the memory verse, the motions, are actually American Sign Language. So the reality is we're actually teaching our kids American Sign Language. And when you explain that to the kids, that gets them really super excited about it. Um, so it's really kind of cool when you're like, hey, you're learning a second language. And then I also, a lot of feedback I hear is like, oh, the memory verse is too long. But it's like, hey, our kids can memorize every single word to Frozen. They can memorize a memory verse that's like more than 2 words. So it just has like some little encouragements in there that you guys can either use for yourselves just to help like familiarize yourself so you can talk to your volunteers, or you can even use it actually part of your onboarding process. So you can send it out, the videos out to everybody, like, hey, like here's just something about our curriculum to get you familiar with why we do what we're doing. Um, so that it helps just to, again, to help them know like, oh, this is why we did it. Okay, that's great. So those videos are on there. And I actually had posted a preschool one the other day. I actually didn't like it, so I redid it today. So I'm going to repost that as soon as it uploads to YouTube and stuff like that. So if you watched it the other day, erase whatever you saw, and you'll see a new one. I've got toddlers and preschool done. Elementary I'll probably have to do next week. Abby keeps interrupting me every time I try to do a video. So, but I at least got those 2 started that you guys can use. You can even send them out to your current teams if you feel like anybody's like struggling. You can use it as one of your Sunday announcements. I don't know. It's just like, hey guys, like this week we're just going to talk about curriculum. Here's the different pieces. Here's why we do it. It's a great tool for you guys to have. The next piece, real quick. Oh, Easter plans. So just so you guys know, I just wanted to let you know for Easter Sunday and the weekend after, the curriculum is going to take, it's going to be a little different than what we're used to. So Easter Sunday, we tend to have a lot of kids. We tend to have a lot of people just jumping in and helping in the classroom. So this year we're actually going to have the kids make resurrection eggs. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of those, but it's for elementary it's going to be 12, and for preschool it's going to be 8. A set of little plastic eggs, and inside each egg there's like a little token or something that really will connect different pieces of the Easter story together. And what's great about it is not only will the kids make it so the kids can learn the story, but it's a great tool for them to be able to take home. They can share it with friends and family. We're going to give them a bag to put it in because I couldn't gather up 300 egg cartons or whatever to put them in, but they'll like, we can print like like a little card on the outside to help them like to have like a little cue, like, oh yeah, here's how we tell the story. So they're really, really cute. I'm looking forward to it. I think they're East Denver. I think I've heard you guys actually have already done those, or you're getting ready to do them. So, and your elementary kids aren't even going to be in class. So actually you guys won't get them, but your preschoolers will get them. And if you're like, oh, well, our kids aren't going, like, I don't know if other locations, if you're where your kids, if they're going to be in class or if they're going to be with the adults, but even if you're like thinking, hey, they're not going to be, they're not going to be in class, so we don't need them. Like, honestly, you guys, I would encourage you guys to think like, hey, can we take these and set them up as a station in the lobby for families to put together real quick, before they leave, or like while they're waiting or whatever, hanging out, whatever. It's just a great way to, like, for kids to take it home. Like I said, great way to learn the different parts of the Easter story. They can use it as a tool to tell other people. Families will be able to use it year after year after year. So it's just a really great tool. And then the second week of April, occasionally in our elementary curriculum, we take a week off of whatever they're doing to hit one of our values specifically. And so that actually, just calendar wise, that's where it's going to fall, is on April 8th. And so we're going to be hitting on our 2 values of I can make a difference and I give help to those in need. And we're going to actually be doing, we're going to be introducing a service project called Rice Bowls. I don't know if you guys have heard about it, but it's an organization that supports orphans. And they donate these little rice bowls to everybody that kids can put coins in to save up money. So we're going to save them, have them do it through the month of April. And at the end of April, they can bring their rice bowls back. But we'll have activities talking about like engaging with rice and stuff like that, and then we'll be talking about like helping others. And I think we even have some videos from the orphanage that talks about like how the money that they give helps and stuff like that. So really cool. I love how we're going to tie together like the concept of like the little grains of rice like by themselves may not feel like much, but when we all come together, like it becomes a lot, which I think can really resonate to kids, because they're like, hey, like what can one little kid do? But when we come together as a class, like, hey, we can make this much money. So yeah, so that's going to be April 8th. So I just want to cue you guys into like that's also going to be happening, just so you guys know that in the back of your mind when you see everything come down. You can help your team out if they're kind of like, what's this? Like, this feels different. That's why. Last but not least, elementary passports, you guys. So if you have any families that did passports, I need to know. I also would love your feedback on passports. I know I didn't quite get to like all the little components that I've done in the past in terms of like connecting with families and stuff about it. Guys, sorry, I'm like, this arm really messed up a lot for me this the last month in terms of the things I thought I was going to be able to do and then not being able to do much of them. So, um, but yes, I would love your guys' feedback in terms of passports, in terms of like, hey, like I think they were great, but like these three things would help make them better. Yeah, just send it to me individually though, because I just want to make sure I'm hearing things like your original thoughts. So yeah, I would just really would appreciate that. You guys also don't forget we have our coordinator meeting all together. It's going to be actually it's going to be in April. Let me pull up the date real quick so that. But I hope you guys can all make it. These, if you guys haven't made it to one of these, you guys, these times are always great, and the fact that it allows us to just really get a chance to hear like, hey, what's going on at our location, da da da. Like, here's what we're doing. I always love, I think it's just great in terms of ideas of being like, oh, I'm stuck, you're stuck too. Oh, we're stuck in the same thing. Okay, great. Number one, it helps you feel like, oh, we're not alone in this, and then number two, it gives me an idea too. Like, okay, like do I need to like communicate something to you guys better? What kind of resources can I give you guys? Or again, it's just fun to connect and hang out with people that understand like what you're going through. So April 26th is our next meeting. So go ahead if you haven't already. That was on the central calendar I sent out. So if you didn't already get that, put it on your calendar. We'll probably just meet at the Arvada building because it's just central to everybody. So yeah, so I hope you guys can make it. Thank you guys so much for everything you do at your locations. I don't know about you guys, but just getting to hear all the stories across the location, what God's doing with our kids is just amazing. And I'm so thankful for each and every single one of you guys to be willing to put in the time and the energy and the heart into making KidVenture at all of our churches like the best it can be. So thank you guys. Yeah, so I will be chatting with you guys later. If you have any questions about any of the stuff that I talked about, please reach out. I would love to hear from you guys. I think I have some meetings scheduled with some of you guys coming up, so we can talk about it then, or if you need it beforehand, that's fine as well. So, all right, I'll talk with you guys later, and I hope you enjoy your weekend. Bye.